and I volunteered. I volunteered every time after that and I went from cruise to cruise to cruise. Finally went to the Mediterranean. I was in the Med for about 9 months. So it was good duty. I was 17, didn't know to come out of the rain, so it worked out okay. You know.
That's the same thing that happened with me. I joined on my 18th birthday, and I didn't know anything at all. I had no idea what I was in for, and we went out there, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But boy, yeah, that's some serious business out there.
I still remember it's like I'm 81 years old. I'm almost 81 years old. Really? I was 17 when I went in. I turned 18 at Paris Island. When I got off that bus, man, I was freaking out. Girls were screaming at us. I know what the hell's going on. What did I get? And then a day later, I had no hair and no beard. Became one of the elite.
Oh gosh, yeah. They fill you full of bunch of stuff like that. But
oh yeah, the recruiter did that for sure. He gave me a big song and dance. You can do this, do that. It worked out okay. I'm glad I did it. It was an experience. But if I was going to go in service, I join the Navy. I think I like the Navy a lot.
Right. Well, I think, oddly enough, I probably should have joined the Marines, but I ended up seeing a little bit here and there, and I ended up getting hurt out there. But it was one of those things where the Navy, especially the situation we were in, we were so far removed from did you ever see the Sand Pebbles with Steve McQueen?
I don't think so. No, that's what I missed.
It's a story about just an old bucket of a Navy boat that was out in China prior to the revolution, prior to the communist revolution. And they were the lone U.S. boat out there, surrounded by billions and billions of Chinese people. The thing is that you're out there representing the United States, but you're kind of daring people.
You're sitting duck.
Yeah, you're a sitting duck. I mean, if they hit you, more than likely, they risk retaliation. But you're a dead man. You're gone. So.
Steve McQueen. I remember Steve McQueen. One of my favorite movies was Bullet. It was a great movie.
I love Bullet.
Great driving. He did his own driving, his own stunt driving.
You gotta love that.
I saw a movie before I joined. I saw a movie with Jack Webb called The Drill Instructor, the DI. And a day later, I joined the Marines. It was crazy.
Is that right?
I don't know why. Yeah, because that was a pretty hardcore movie.
Is that?
Anyway, so it's all history now, as they say.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I don't know where you were, but the funny thing is that my stuff the mission didn't exist. It still to this day never really happened. So I love that kind of stuff. It's history, but it's kind of a strange history that doesn't really happen.
I know, yeah. Well, I think if I had to do it over, I finished college first and going as an officer.
Yeah.
That was pretty kickback, dude. Those guys really had it made,
Oh man.
But they say too soon old and too late smart, That's my motto.
Yes, sir. Too late slow.
Too soon old, too late smart.
That's beautiful. So how have you been feeling? How are you doing?
Well, physically I'm kind of jacked up. I've got a nerve disorder in my neck called cervical dystonia. It causes my neck to spasm. Mm-hmm. So my head moves around like a boxer most of the time. It just bounces back and forth and twists and turns, But other than that, and I was painting a fence a week ago, and I got a horrible backache from it, and I still have it. I got ice in my back right now.
Really?
Every time I move, I wince. I go, oh no, I can't tie my shoes. Good thing I have sandals. I can't tie my damn shoes. I can't even bend over that far. Well, but it's getting better little by little, so it's okay.
Look at it like this, you got 30 years on me, and you can move a lot more than I can.
Yeah, I saw your situation. I watched one of your videos. It was an interview, I think, with another fellow that you were doing.
Yes, sir.
It was really very good. Yeah, but it looks like you've got some issues too.
Yeah,
Believe me,
yeah,
I can relate to that. Believe me.
yeah. It's one of those things. I think, Gary, to be honest with you, it's a double-edged sword. You know, I kind of knew that I was going to be here, but um, the it's the weird thing about it is, now that I'm here, it's almost it's a weird kind of it's a culmination of what I saw. So it's almost like a confirmation of sorts. And then, but now that I'm here, it's this push and pull with pain and just getting by. And so the fun thing to do is to let go, become the pain, let it dissipate, and learning how to come and go with that the sensations of pain. Learning how to deal with that is definitely something that I had to do. So
me too. I've had chronic pain for since I got my surgeries. I had a number of surgeries in 2005, and so I've been dealing with this thing ever since then, 15 years.
wow.
And it's it's kind of part of who I am, but it's kind of like an unwanted guest, in my house, so to speak.
Yeah. I like to tell people I'm okay as long as I don't move.
Yeah. I move too much, so we got the app. Maybe we should join together, join our genes together next time. We could have a normal person.
Oh man, I mean, I can't even to paint a fence. I'll tell you, my right arm, I'll reach up to grab something and it'll just stop right there in the middle of right in the middle of reaching out. And it's not a matter of well, I can push through this or anything. It literally just stops, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
So.
The last 6 months, I've been getting freezes, like a Parkinson's thing.
Oh yeah,
well,
yeah.
I want to take a step and I can't move my damn leg.
It's the weirdest. I mean, you get that too, huh?
Yeah, it's strange. What exactly has happened to you? Do you have a neurological situation, or do you mind asking?
It's I was in a fire. We were under attack, and I was a fireman, and I was damage control. My job was to keep the boat floating while we fought, and an engine blew up, a cylinder shattered, and I had to go down there and put it out, and a bunch of stuff melted off of the above walkway, extendable walkway, and those metal plates melted off of the walkway and fell on me. And yeah, it sucked.
So you're actually in a war, like Vietnam?
Yeah. Well, it was they don't call it a war, they call it a red zone, and you're in
danger, basically.
Yeah, you get danger pay, and you're in a red zone. Yeah. So it's not war, and nobody knows about it, but there's some stuff going on,
Yeah, I know. I think they would have re-upped me, but I was in school full time, and I skated past it. They never recalled me. I'm sure they would have recalled me if I wouldn't have been in college full time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for sure. So I would have gone to Vietnam for sure, because I'm the right age.
That's that. Yeah, my landlord's 73. He said, man, I was going. There's no way.
Yeah,
I knew he said he knew he was gonna get drafted.
I missed it by the skin of my teeth, I'll tell you. Just
wow.
And I had the GI Bill at that time too, so the government was paying they paid my 3 years of school.
So had you not kept your grades up, they would have got you.
Yeah, they probably would have got me. Yeah. I liked school. It was kind of like being in the womb,
Right.
It was great, and nothing. I wasn't born until I graduated, kind of, But I could have been a student I could have been a perennial student forever. I loved going to school.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Hey, let me go grab my sandwiches. They got to the door.
Oh, sure. Right, sit tight. Okay. Yeah. Take your time.
Well, I got the headphones on. So, oh God. Yeah, you're gonna get to hear this. I got to lower. I just got my medical bed. I'm getting used to my new medical bed. It's really good. It's amazing. But but the mattress is horrible. God. Really? Oh, it's terrible.
It's too thin, or?
Yeah, well, the mattress, it's an air mattress, and
God.
I'm a huge guy. I'm a big guy, so it's one of these things where it's completely useless. Oh God. Oh, hang on. Oh God. Oh, sorry you had to hear this.
That's all
Oh,
right, man. I'm the same way. When I try to get up, I'm screaming, you know. No big, it's no problem. Hang in there.
Yeah, people say I sound like I'm wrestling, like two people wrestling when I try to move. Oh.
Yeah. Jesus.
Okay. Oh. Okay, outstanding. I got my Jimmy John's here.
As long as you waited, the guy should have came in and fed you.
Oh man.
That would have been made up for the bad service.
Really. Oh God. Oh. Oh.
Hang on.
Oh Lord. Woo. Oh God. Yeah. Oh man. Oh boy. Whew.
You okay?
Man. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, so it usually takes me a couple minutes to catch my breath.
I'm the same. I lose my breath once. My situation is nowhere nearly as bad as yours, but with this back injury, I get a twinge when I move a certain way, and it's like it takes my breath away, literally. You know, it's so painful. It's like somebody sticking a knife in my back. You know, it's awful.
Oh man.
But you know, it's going away. I got an ice pack on right now, so hopefully it'll get better.
Yes, sir. So this has been amazing being able to talk to my friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm getting coming out of my shell a little bit. Oh boy.
Yeah, I've got a couple people I really enjoy. Yourself is one of them. Justin Lucido. Yeah. Renee Borgia. I like Renee Borgia. Mila Lucha and I have become really good friends over time. We share a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Who was that last guy?
Mila, it's a lady. Mila, okay. Lucy, I think it's Lucia, Lucia.
Okay.
Yeah, she's very bright. Yeah, she and I are taking a course together actually in what is it? Clinical psychology.
Is that right?
Trying to figure myself out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's never too late.
I know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So what is I mean, are you finding the course interesting? Do you like it?
I like it. I love it. Yeah. It's online. It's free. I'm auditing it. So if I wanted to get grades and have conferences with instructors and stuff, I could do that, but it costs $84. This way I can audit it for nothing.
Right.
It's all videos and there's some questions afterwards. So it's really a pretty quick, easy way to learn. And I'm really enjoying it. I like to keep my mind active, you know?
Yeah.
I've kind of always compared my mind to my body. If, you know, you kind of use it or lose it, you know?
Right. Right.
So, yeah. So it's old, and I'm retired. So I've got time on my hands to do stuff I want to do, you know, which is a real pleasure for me. I retired in I retired in 1999. I owned a business in San Jose, California. My two partners are still running that. And then I moved to San Diego and I went to work for the Liberty Mutual, a subsidiary of Liberty Mutual called Golden Eagle Insurance. I was writing high risk insurance with them.
Oh.
Yeah, so I having been a former broker, nobody on the staff really trusted me because brokers are notoriously liars, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, a lot. Well, I wasn't that way, but a lot of them are. Yeah, they just try to inflate it and make it seem really good, you know. But it's a piece of junk, basically.
Right.
They got it was buyer beware kind of thing, I guess. So yeah. But I retired from Liberty. That's when I got this dystonia. I couldn't multitask anymore. My head was spinning around. I was supposed to be on the phone and a computer and writing at the same time. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Wow.
So I went in and talked to my boss, who was a really nice guy, and I explained it to him, and he said, fine. So he said, well, adios. They gave me a little retirement income, so that's not bad. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, man. You know, I bebopped around myself. I had my own deli for a while.
Hey, really?
I managed the deli, and then I worked my butt off until I finally was able to buy my own. And so I did that, and that went on for like it took me like 7 years from the time I got out of the Navy to get my own. And then once I got my own, that went on for about 10 years. I sold my shares to my partner and I just moved on. And
that's great.
Yeah, I ended up going, I did a little bit of iron work and welding and things of that nature, and just kind of traveled and went
Yeah.
along with where the jobs were. And
Yeah.
it was beautiful. I mean, I was having a great time. And I mean, my injury was always bugging me. I mean, I was always hurting, but towards the end, it got so bad I couldn't walk on the iron. I couldn't do anything, and the jobs I kept making less and less money, and I was moving slower and slower.
That's hard to deal with. I know.
Yeah, eventually I just ended up. I ended up getting the surgery together. Had I known it would take 7 years to actually get the surgery, I might have started earlier. But by the time I got it, it was I was able to walk into the hospital, but I never walked out. So
wow, Jesus.
Yeah.
When I got out of service, I went to work for a metal shop called Angle Products. All things, I was building rocket launchers. I was putting them together and welding them together.
Nice.
And then I worked for Cleveland Chrysler Defense Plant years ago, building tanks and testing them. That was a kick.
Wow, that must have been a blast.
I worked 70 hours a week sometimes just to meet the government contracts. They would really penalize people. They penalize the company if they didn't meet the government contract timing.
Oh, I bet you were making bank.
I was making a lot of money. I made a lot of money and spent a lot of money, so I got nothing to show for it.
Right, yeah.
That's the way it goes. Your level of spending goes up with your income, I guess. But I was young then; I didn't really care. I was having a good time. So
yeah, you don't think about that when you're young, and the money will always be. I'll just make more later.
Yeah, I kind of had this. I kind of had this thing. I was immortal, when I was younger.
Absolutely.
When my eyes get open soon.
Speaking about that, what? How about this? What did you say? What kind of psychiatry it was you were looking at?
Clinical psych.
What is clinical psychology?
Well, it's kind of like the cliche would be somebody laying on a couch and they're talking to you and you analyze their problems. Listen to their problems, try to give them some advice. Kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I studied a lot of psychology in the service. I actually started general psychology when I was still in the service.
Right.
And I studied a lot of psychology in undergraduate and graduate school as well. So if I had it to do over, I probably wouldn't have started my own business. I would have become a psychologist, a clinical psychologist. I'm fascinated with that kind of stuff, Yeah. It's pretty neat. So that's why I hang out on That's why I hang out with you guys on Facebook, because you're all blowing my mind every day,
Yeah, it's really interesting to once I get to these subjects, the foundationless the subjectivity of reality, of existence itself. It gets really different. I mean, it gets fun because everybody's got their own story. Everybody's telling their own story, and it's so beautiful. I just got off. I was talking to Kim Mikowski again today, and he's amazing. He's an amazing guy.
Really?
And then I talked to Jesse Wahab again today, and we dance around a lot of the same things. Most of what we do is kind of dance around what certain words mean, or all of these different little. We have games with definitions and stuff like that. But it's always
it's fun, It's a nice way to spend a day. I spent way too much time on Facebook, but with the pandemic, I was, I didn't have anything else to do, so. Our gym was closed, our lodge was closed, everything was closed here, so I couldn't go anywhere. So I started getting on Facebook, and now I'm addicted to it. I can't get off it.
Man, I tell you, it's just compulsory. You just press the button, and there it is.
Yeah, I know, really, and it's just I go on for hours sometimes. Talk to different people. It is interesting to get different people's perspectives on things. Different ideas and so on. Yeah.
Well, what do you think of? I mean, for me, some people say it's just my perspective is an opinion, and for me, my perspective is, it's not an opinion, it's just the way things are, in that we cannot know objective truth because we are not our physical brains, and the only way to know objectively what something is to be that thing. And because we are not our physical brain, or at least from my perspective, We are not our physical brain. We are not the mind that is telling us a story about that physicality. And so there's no physical brain that anchors thought and mind and consciousness to a physical body. And then from there, you can, there's no physical self to anchor relativity. And that all things are relative to your position. So from the psychiatric point of view, that's probably a little bit, we're adding more layers to the conceptual self and what have you.
I think psychiatrists say, you're a human being, you got a brain, your brain thinks, it has thoughts,
Right.
and it perceives things through your senses, sight, sound, smell, taste, whatever, and you kind of objectify them from there. But, I get lost in some of these conversations, just like, my head starts to spin. I have to back off for a while. Otherwise I become verbally violent,
It can be rough, man. It can be tough.
They pretzel your brain sometimes, just like,
oh man. Yeah, it's so counterintuitive because it's not for me anyways. It's I like to think of it as because I cannot know that I am my brain, and I cannot know that I am my thought or my mind or consciousness or anything like that. There is no thinking happening. And so, but from that position, that positionless position, there's no point to attack or defend. There's no objective truth to say or not or to negate. And it's kind of a showstopper as far as conversation is concerned.
It is, yeah. It is for me kind of too, I'm still trying to wrap my head around some of these concepts,
Right.
I was pretty kind of nuts and bolts guy before I joined Facebook. Now I'm a lunatic,
It's what do you think about it? What do you think about non-duality and all the talk and all of that?
I understand the idea of non-duality, that I'm reading a book now called branching streams flowing in the darkness by Shunryu Suzuki. He talks a bit about duality, and I think that it's subject object. I think we objectify a lot of stuff in our life. That's one of the concepts I seem to understand that. And what did I want to say? I just it's like where do thoughts come from? For me, thoughts are endless. They kind of like you got a calm lake and a thought bubbles up, there's a bubble, and there's the thought pop. Then another one comes along, then another one, then another one. I'm constantly thinking, random thoughts. Sometimes I focus on something and I'll try to get into it, more deeply, and I think that the whole idea of that I'm not my body, I'm not my mind, what am I? Where am I? How do I exist? And why are we having this conversation? How are we doing this? Connecting like this, it's just that's that kind of stuff. Obviously it baffles me.
Yes, it's from again, this is I mean it is to actually think about it is impossible because it's so counterintuitive because you can't know anything. And, it's like Socrates would say, the only thing you can know is that you cannot know. And so there's no way to say, okay, this is the way it is. You have to, for me, preface everything that you say with, this is how it appears, or this is the appearance of, the story of a brain in time and space is the appearance of an individual thinking without validation.
How do you take that a step further, though? I mean, if we're not any of those things, what are we?
Well, we're not.
Are we pure energy? That's where I get caught.
Okay.
Are we just pure energy or pure potential, or I don't get that.
Okay. So what energy and potential are dealing with is cause and effect. You're dealing with space and time. You're dealing with separation, exactly. and what is being what is being alluded to with non-duality, at least from me, is that because, okay, I'm gonna try to articulate this as best I can, but as okay, you're not your mind, you're not your brain, so you're not anything that culminates from that brain, which would be thought, mind, consciousness, all of that telling a story about physicality, cause and effect, time and space, separation, dimension, all of that has to do with that assumption that the mind that the mind is telling it the truth about a brain, a physical brain in time and space, though that is not validated. So if you're not your brain and you're not your mind, who is self, or what is self? Now, from that position of, so now you, so just as to humor me, so we've dislodged or any kind of connection to the physical body. All right. So now you're not your brain, you're not your mind, you're not your thoughts. There's no definition for you. And so what is existence, and what is the story of separation?
That was my question. You know, if we're not all those things, what are we?
Right. You know? So, and what this is, yeah. And again, I'm using drunken language. It's, you know, I'm not promoting any kind of truth, and I'm not saying that this is accurate, but as close as I can get to it is, it's okay. This immediate experience is relative to no position. There's nothing beyond what appears to be this here and now between the two of us having a conversation, and what appears to be this moment of time and space. We appear to be sentient beings that are navigating separation through time and space.
Okay.
Within time and space, you know, you have these there are these laws, okay, functionalities, laws that say two people or 2 points in time and space can occupy the same place at the same time. So what you have is all objects experiencing space and time in their own way. No two people, for example, have ever experienced space and time in the same way. And so
I can't know what's in your brain, you know?
Right. I can't,
or how you perceive things. I can't know how you perceive things, nor can you know how I perceive things.
exactly.
We just talk about it and maybe come to some kind of basic agreements, you know? And that's
right.
I think that's about as far as we could take it, you know, really.
Right. And from that position, you have individuals, going through time and space in their own ways, this and that. Say it's a room, okay? Space and time is a room, and you and I are individually navigating time and space and existence, okay? Now take solipsism, for example. Solipsism would be the individual's consciousness is the totality of existence. So one's own mind or brain is projecting reality, and that is the only thing that exists.
I get that.
There's nothing outside of that room. That room of solipsism, that consciousness is projecting existence, but nothing exists beyond that point. Whereas non-duality is saying, at least from my perspective, is that there are things in a room that are being expressed. You and I are one of those, or a couple of those things, okay? But that room of immediate experience is relative to no position. So everything within this immediate experience seems like it's separate to us because we think that we are separate from each other. We think that we are separate from the things that we are observing. There's observer observed, but there's not. There is the expression of things in this room and of time and space relative to no other position. So this immediate experience has no other point to be relative to, and therefore it's not a thing. It's much like the Big Bang, in that the Big Bang comes out of not even nothing, okay, expands ever faster and gets ever bigger until eventually it dissipates into not even nothing again.
Yeah.
At least that would be one of thousands of theories.
Yeah.
So what this is saying is, instead of believing the story of time and space and cause and effect and all of that stuff, which is predicated on the first initial thing that you cannot know, which is that you are actually thinking, that
Yeah.
you are actually a being, sentient being, going through this massive room of time and space in your own little way, in an own little sliver. But that cannot be validated because you are not your brain. So you cannot know that that story is accurate. So you disassociate from the thought is not you, the mind is not you, the brain is not you, consciousness is not you. That is the illusion of an individual observing things within this room of non-duality.
Okay.
And so what happens is, from that position, there, beyond this immediate experience, is literally just like the Big Bang came out of not even nothing. It's not dimensional. So before this immediate experience is not even nothing, this blooms out of not even nothing and then goes to not even nothing. So there's no cause or mechanism for it. It just happens, not happens, relative to no position. And so this immediate experience is the story of individuals navigating time and space. And so for me, it is that you exist as an appearance, but don't exist as you appear. And so existence itself appears to exist, but doesn't exist as it appears. And from there, everything, all bets are off. It's whatever appears to be happening.
However you perceive it, basically.
Yeah. And but the perception itself, and there it gets, that is the illusion that there is an individual perceiving. So that it's the foundationless foundation, in that there is no way to know that you are actually thinking, and that you are actually a brain or in a body on earth, in a universe. So if you just stop believing everything, stop believing anything, eventually at least for me, it just kind of happened where everything just kind of bloomed into, it just kind of, I realized, that there are no things, it's a weird thing, but that's kind of the long and the short of it.
I think I'm beginning to grok it. To use a Heinlein stranger and stranger, I'm grokking you. I'm getting it.
Yeah. I like to say I'm tracking you.
That book, I read the book a long time ago. They had a whole new, a glossary of words, had a whole new language he created for that book. It was amazing.
What was the definition of grok?
To think, to understand.
Yeah. I like it. So, so what do you think?
Well, I don't know if I can really capture my thoughts, to tell you the truth. I agree with most of what you say. In fact, almost everything that you said, but it's hard for me to grasp some of those things, to get my brain wrapped around some of the concepts or the ideas. I think that the original, the Big Bang, I like to call the original super dense particle, dense beyond my belief. I like to call it the God particle, for want of a better word,
Sure.
And it came out, and something came out of nothing, basically. Who knows where it came from, how it was created, or what it was all about? It just exploded, and here we are. Here's the universe, or multiverse, which is incredible.
Right. Please continue.
But the whole idea of, I have to get back to some of these things you talked about, because I don't have answers for you, and I don't have all my thoughts really fully formulated yet. As old as I am, I still have a lot of questions. I keep questioning things,
Sure.
Come to a better some kind of resolution for myself, at least from my limited perspective, so I can understand, so I can kind of cope with some of these concepts, some of the ideas. The idea of non-existence, no brain, no thought, no body, no mind. It's like that's, I have trouble wrapping my head around that yet. I'm getting there, but little by little. I have to talk more to understand, to get me to, you drill it into my head, I guess, or pour the knowledge into my head, I'll open up my brain, you can pour the knowledge in. So,
well, look at it like this. We were talking about not being able to share each other's reality. I can't pick your brain.
no,
I don't know what red looks like to you. You don't know what red looks like to me. I can't tell you what a peach tastes like, etc. So, I mean, we could try, but we'd never be able to share that.
I've always thought that words fail, and they
oh, absolutely,
they just fail. That's probably the hardest thing to understand is there's so many millions and billions of words said every day, and yet they fail to describe something like you're talking about. I can't understand another person's experience. I can talk about another person's experience, and maybe we have some commonalities, but beyond that, I don't know what you're seeing, what you're thinking, what your concept of reality is, what your reality is.
Think of it in that term of like, well, we both can't. I mean, it's just the nature of consciousness that we cannot know that we are actually conscious or this is actually real. We can't know we can't know existence is objectively real because we cannot know the source of what appears to be our thought. So
that's the thing. That's the key point for me. We don't know the source of our thoughts.
Right. Without that objective understanding, without that objective knowledge, without that objective truth, that there is actually a source for your thought, then everything becomes subjective. Everything becomes a story rather than a truth. So
I get that.
So from that place to say non-existence is essentially alluding to, like, for example, we're talking about words. Words are duplicitous. They require 2 points in time and space. They require someone speaking, someone hearing. And so I am trying to convey something to you, just for an example. So, but I cannot know what I am saying is objectively true because I don't have a source for my thought. So anything I say is completely subjective. And what we are alluding to is the lack of separation or the lack of points in time and space. So if that is why words cannot describe the lack of separation, because the words are duplicitous and what we're alluding to is not.
The lack of separation, the word that comes to me is inseparable.
Inseparable.
We're all interconnected, interdependent, I guess. Interdependent is the word I was looking for.
Right. Well, go ahead, please, sir.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please, go ahead.
I lost my thought.
No. Yeah, I do that quite a bit. Well, like and I don't know, I'm just, but for me, like interdependence would be within the story or within the room that is relative to no other position. So that is a story about things that require a beginning and an end. They require time, separation. Interconnected means that there is some kind of separation. Whereas what we're even the negation of existence is, existence. So what we're saying is, or what I'm saying is, because words can't describe it, because I can't know truth, the words themselves don't exist as just as everything that appears separate doesn't exist as it appears within time and space and separation, because it's relative to no position. And so you can't know you are your brain. We cannot define things. Okay, there's no actual definition of a thing. I mean, the more we look at it, the less there is there. So, we have theories about the beginning and the end of the universe and infinite or finite. We have all of these theories about what this is, right? But what I'm alluding to is more of a lack of belief. It's a lack of belief in any of those stories, and just watching what appears. Literally, the Coca-Cola can and the toilet, and the love and the hate and the war and the pain and the beauty. All of it is one expression coming out of nothing and going to nothing. And that in this way, it's unconditional in that it literally appears. I mean, there is no rhyme or reason or purpose for it. And so as this thing just kind of emerges and comes into being and goes out of being, the hardest thing to wrap, paradoxically wrap one's mind around, there's no mind, is that there's no it's almost like marionettes without the strings. There's no cause, and
No
there's
controller.
there's no controller, there's no nothing. It just happens, not happens. And that's the one where people definitely hit a roadblock.
Yeah. That's true. Like, what? I know. I'm kind of, that's, I think I have a better understanding of what you're describing and where you're kind of coming from. I tend to agree with everything you said, basically. It's just hard for me to conceptualize, hard for me to put it into words. But you've done a good job putting it into words for me. So that's great. I appreciate that.
Gary, I mean, that's amazing to hear. Thank you so much, man. That's really kind of you.
Well, how you doing? How's your energy level? Are you okay? Or
I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I love I love talking, and I love I love conversation. So, but it's there's no pressure here. I mean, come and go as you wish. I'm glad to talk about anything or nothing at all. It's whatever you wish.
I understand. Yeah. Just wanted to kind of put a limit on it because I got some other stuff I've got to do. But
Yes,
so, I talked to Andrew Kirschbaum. Do you know him?
Yes, sir.
He's got his picture all over the Facebook. He's popping up, smiling and looking serious. I had a 1 hour thing when he limits you to 1 hour. At the end of it, it's kind of like the therapist couch. Your hour's up. I love what? You're leaving already? We're just getting started. But that's what he does. He's trying to attract an audience, I think, like to become the next guru, the next
oh god,
whoever, the Sadhguru or one of those guys.
The funniest thing to me is
he's a really nice guy.
He's a really great guy. He's my tech guy, actually. He's actually, I'm going to help him. We're helping each other, but
that's great.
He's definitely his own guy. I mean, a friend of mine was telling me, it's so funny. I was talking to Andrew the other day, and I said, I was like, how was that? She said, oh, it's amazing. Most people shy away from any talk of like enlightenment or anything like that. Andrew will tell you straight up, I'm enlightened.
I know. It's like, what? How did that happen? What talks about the shift? The shift from what to what? It's like, huh?
Yeah.
Enlightenment. I know enlightenment is not an intellectual thing. It's like an aha gestalt. It happens.
Right.
Sometimes it happens immediately, instantaneous, and sometimes it takes time. I've read a lot about it. I've got a whole dissertation here about enlightenment. I just finished reading. I read it and looked me just scratching my head like a monkey. What?
I like it. Well, like Jim Newman, for example, and Jim Newman, when his process, he said it took him. It was I can't remember exactly how long. It was like 8 to 18 years or something. I can't. Yeah. It was that long. And Andreas Mueller says something very similar. It was like a couple of years of this progression.
Yeah.
I personally, it's difficult to, it's paradoxical to say, but in the story of me and this whole, enlightenment story thing or whatever,
right?
It happened like instantaneously for me when I was 8 years old, and I have this dramatic story that just kind of happened, and I saw all this stuff. And you know, it's really kind of it's one of those stories that, you know, you hear about it all the time. It's no big, you know, it's just, you know, you hear about that kind of thing and it's impossible to talk about. But since that point, yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to articulate what I mean and, or what I'm trying to say. I used to say, you know, nothing, this isn't real, you know, and nothing is real. This is, you know, it's real and it's not real. And eventually, you know, after all the science and all the religion and the spirituality and all the different searching and all that stuff, trying to find, you know, somebody I can relate to. And every now and again, you'll come across, you know, somebody that's just amazing. And, you know, they paradoxically have experienced the same thing as you. I'm speaking conceptually, of course. And, you know, you know, Sandeep, Kim, there's several others that through Facebook, oddly enough, you know, Sandeep's in Uzbekistan. You know, he's sharing a computer with a village in Uzbekistan, and really? Something like that. That's the impression I got. And so it's one of those things where, you know, how else, you know, that's so amazing. How else can, you know, could we do this but through Facebook? You know, it's, you know, it's so incredible.
We're making Zuckerberg another $1 billion. Huh? Just talking. It's amazing. What a gadget.
Yeah, and you know, for me, it's much like Sandeep or, you know, Facebook and all this kind of stuff. I view like ancient teachers as they bloom right here, right now. That's not a guy that lived 2,000 years ago. And, you know, it's, you know, Buddha is here now, you know, as what we, so it's one of those, it's beautiful thing. And, you know, Mark Zuckerberg, Buddha, and Facebook, who'd have thunk it?
I know. I made a statement on Facebook. I said, if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. And Facebook got all uptight about that. They put me in jail for a while. What? You know, so I had to explain myself. I had to explain what I meant. You know, so yeah. So it's interesting.
That happened. I did the same. I posted, if you meet Buddha on the side of the road, kill him. And I got people that were upset with me about it. I was like, well, if you're a Buddhist, you should know this. You know?
You understand exactly. Yeah. I've studied a lot of Buddhism over the years, so I understand that, I think, at some level. I study actually with have you ever seen anything from Adyashanti online?
A little bit, yeah.
I've actually studied with him. I trained with him years ago when he was just getting started at like a small group in an office building.
Really?
In an office building, yeah. And he's expanded a lot. And I've gone to some silent retreats with him, which are extremely difficult, you know, not talking, not making eye contact, you know, being by yourself totally for like a week. It was an intense experience. Just amazing.
Yikes.
Yeah.
How did that work?
It was, you know, you're just like, you can't wait to say something when you leave, you know, when it's over. I got like 10,000 words I want to say right now, all at once, you know. And can I look you in the eye finally? It was just like, it was a solitary experience, you know. You kind of get into yourself, you know. There's no one to relate to but yourself, you know. You got a cabin by yourself, you got alone, you know. You have meals, and meals are in silence. You know, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, pretty amazing. It was intense. I had a really hard time with it in the beginning. After a while, it got to be refreshing, you know. No pressure, you know. I don't have to be a person. I don't have to be a persona. I don't have to say clever things. I don't have to do anything like that. I can just be by myself and look within myself. You know, I did that for about a week, and it was pretty amazing. It was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be something really, you know, for me to be quiet for a week. Wow. I don't know if I can do it. That's hard.
Obviously, I'm a talker too. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Still beautiful though.
Yeah, I started learning about Buddhism from a Jesuit priest who was a Buddhist as well. And I finally understood that, you know, you can be a Buddhist and be a Christian at the same time, you know, because Buddhism isn't a religion, you know. I made that statement a couple of times on Facebook, and I began to understand that. I read a book. The first book I read about it was Buddhism for Dummies. They've got all this series of dummies books, like Electricity for Dummies, Carpentry for Dummies. This Buddhism, I've got the copy of it right here, actually. I like Rupert Spira is pretty neat too. I think I
Yeah,
listen to some of his stuff. He's pretty right on.
sure.
He's no long flowing beard, no long white hair,
Yeah,
no fancy robes, no orange robes. He's just like he's in a sports shirt and a jacket, and a pair of slacks. But he says something that really is mind blowing. I think he's right on a lot of stuff that he says. I enjoy listening to his podcasts a lot.
very much.
Yeah, so.
I didn't know he had a podcast.
Well, it's not a podcast per se. It's just I see him on YouTube basically. That's where I get all my stuff is from YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't even know what I don't even know what a podcast is actually. Technologically, I don't know what it is. I know the name, but I don't know what it means.
yeah, I don't either. I have no idea.
I just see a lot of stuff on YouTube. I just dial up Rupert Spira and his talks are all there. Adyashanti, Alan Watts,
Yeah.
Sadhguru, he's pretty flamboyant. Brown skin, a big following in India, long white hair, long white beard, and he's got this mischievous look in his eye every time he talks. Is he really telling the truth or is he bullshitting me? And I don't know.
Right.
Oh,
I think Sandeep was telling me a story about a couple of the first guys that came up with Advaita or whatever it's called.
yeah.
And he talking about the ancient teachers, and they both had thousands of followers, and they meet up and everybody's thinking they're gonna get something out of this and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And the two masters meet, and they just sit there and start giggling, and there's just complete silence, and every now and again they just start giggling.
Yeah.
And that's just what can be more accurate than that?
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. No words are necessary. You kind of know where he's at, and he knows where you're at. That's like a synchronicity of the minds, I guess, in a way, or in the synchronicity of the spirits, I suppose, even deeper than the mind.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, there literally is no way to communicate from that level. I mean, to say the self doesn't exist, or to existence exists and does not exist.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have been saying these things for thousands of years, and when I actually, the thing is when you meet somebody that's there that understands that, again, paradoxically speaking, really you're just telling stories to each other. You're just having fun with language.
Yeah.
You're just having a good time. There's really no, there again, there's no position to defend.
Yeah.
There's nothing to attack. Everything is just so relaxed, and you're in this place of, that this is just as it is, and yet it's not as it appears, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. I had the same kind of thing with when I talked with Andrew. He was laughing a lot. And I said, I can understand some of this intellectually, but I can't get to the place you're at yet. I'll get there eventually, but not yet. Maybe before I die. I'll have an awakening before I die. Who knows? I don't know.
It's paradoxical. I mean, a lot of people would say there is no, awakening experience. There is no self. There's nobody that can have that. And so, so intellectually, you do understand the subjective nature of consciousness.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. But you're saying that you have not had that experience of the lack of separation.
I don't know if I've had it or not. I mean, is it a feeling, an emotional feeling? I can't use emotion. That's ego. It's just like I guess it's an awakening, really. Yeah,
it's really, you awaken to the dream. You awaken to realize it's a dream. It's like your dream. Let's say when you're dreaming, does the characters in your dream think? Do they have independent will or anything like that? And when we go to this deeper place beyond mind, say, some people call it knowing, some people call it God, I call it being, not being, happening, not happening, whatever you want to say, existence, non-existence. When you go to that place where there is no separation and only knowing, not knowing, but there's no subject or object to know or to ask a question or to answer. There's nothing to know and no one to ask. So There, you go to this place that's not a place, and there's no you, so that it's impossible to describe. Like I had a person, I think people ask me from time to time, and the funniest thing is somebody asked me if I could draw them a diagram, and I thought it was and as a joke I said, okay, there's two cones, okay, and they're both pointed to this linear surface that's like a time grid, and up here you have the cone of self, and then me and separation, everything I see, navigating time and space as an independent object in my own little sliver of what appears to be reality. And that goes to a timeline. Like I'm 8 years old here in this place, and what happened was unexplainable. From that point on the bottom of that time grid, there's really there's no objective truth or position in which to say anything is true or false. Nothing makes sense. There's no way to say it. There's absolutely we can allude to it and do all those things. It's kind of like the guy pointing at the moon, where the guy's pointing at the moon and you look at the finger, and then you get to the moon and then realize there's no moon.
That's right. That's right. Out of Enter the Dragon and Bruce Lee.
yeah.
He's having Lao. He has Lao as his student, and he's interviewing this guy before he goes off to La La Land to beat everybody up that needs to be beat up. And he says, this guy, he's talking to this British guy who wants to recruit him. No, it's Lao's time. And he said, he bats Lao in the head a few times, pay attention, you don't not getting it, pass him again in the head, and raps him on the head a couple of times. And then finally says, it's like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger. You miss all that magnificent heavenly glory,
Right.
It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It is like that. And what the heavenly glory is that it's not there. It appears to be there, but it's not there.
Kind of an illusion.
Yeah, and the illusion from nowhere to nothing. But this is all again. I think people relate to me. The appearance of others relate to me more when I do speak in terms of a little bit more easy to understand. Rather than trying to be so intricate with what I'm saying. And it doesn't matter. The language itself doesn't really matter anyways. And I always try to just tell a story, and I end up getting bogged down in too much.
I know.
Yeah, too much.
Well, I think I've felt a connection with you from early on. I think listening to you talk and watching you, looking at your posts and things, and making comments along the way. That there's certain people I've kind of synced with. That there's a synchronicity that happens. It doesn't happen to me very often, but with you, I know it was there, and with a few other people as well. Like I appreciate what they have to say. It's informative. It's conjectural. Maybe it can't be proven. Maybe it can be proven. It's fascinating to just do that, to be in that kind of a mode, I guess, of understanding or relating to people.
Well, that's amazing, Gary. I really do appreciate that, and I feel the same way towards you. I remember when we first met. We immediately just started talking about all kinds of different stuff. There's all of the appearances and all of the talk and all of the different things. And in the end, it's just about a feeling. It's kind of
I think so. Yeah.
Do we resonate or do we not? And right away, it's one of those things where I don't know a heck of a lot of people, but the people that I do know, I value dearly. And I just wanted to say thank you for that, because it does mean a lot. It does mean a lot to me because, strictly speaking, a lot of people will say, well, come up with all kinds of reasons why that's not what is. And I'm like, well, the thing is, we are conceptual selves. We do appear in this here and now. We are having a conversation, and within that context, me and this fella Gary just resonate, and there's nothing wrong with that,
No, nothing at all. I say
Yeah.
enjoy the ride. We might blink out in a moment. Who knows?
That is absolutely true.
Yeah, I think so. It is.
And that's the beauty. Isn't that the beauty of it, though? That
It is.
like
Yeah.
I woke up
It
this
is.
morning and I was just like, yes, I mean, thank you, for whatever, not to anyone or for anything, just like, wow, this is so beautiful.
I know.
It's
When I
so
wake up in the morning,
amazing.
my eyes pop up and I say, "Wow, I made it another day." Kind of like that.
Did you ever think you'd make it as far as you made it?
Nope, not in a million years. No, I've
Me
done some
neither.
weird stuff in my life. I rode motorcycles for a long time. I raced cars for a while. A business partner and I bought a car. We raced. So I like living on the edge for a while. Now I'm kind of in my head a lot. So and it's safer that way. In some ways it's safer. Some ways it's a lot more dangerous.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I had when I was younger, I just would just throw caution to the wind and go for it, and all of those little bumps and bruises, they stay with you forever.
They do, yeah. They show up. They show up as you get later. As you get older,
they don't.
They come back. They seem to come back. They're
With a
latent,
vengeance.
and then they pop out later. So
Yeah, they
all
come
kinds.
back and they're angry all of a sudden.
Yeah, I know. You've neglected them, ignored them too long. Well, I'll show you, kind of thing.
But
Crazy.
it's the same way with me though. I traded that physical thing with this kind of well, I guess you can call it a mental thing or whatever you want to say.
Sure.
But the study of these topics are very, you can get into the preface, you can share an experience with a friend, you can have one with yourself or whatever, and these things that you brush with the infinite, and it truly is this amazing, I'm just going to be sloppy with language, but the payoff is so amazing to just let belief go and just enjoy what is as it appears in front of you, and just be grateful for friends and family, and
exactly.
we're here now, and it's just there's no it's so beautiful. Yeah,
it truly is. Yeah, life is a gift, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
We're kind of at the top of the food chain, but I think there's people above us that are UFO people that are coming to visit us eventually. They make us look like a bunch of doofuses, Who knows?
Well, within the story of space and time, it would, within the parameters of what we know to be, what we observe to be the observable universe, it would be foolish to think that there was nothing out there. I mean, it's just ridiculous to think that we are alone in the universe.
That's
would
pretty
be
egotistical.
Well, it would be even more profound than to say that there are billions of civilizations.
Yeah.
To tell me that we are it be it's just incomprehensible.
How disappointing,
Yeah.
Like man plans and God laughs kind of thing, or I think that, I made the statement a couple of times, kind of offended a few people. I said, why would God stop in his creation with we imperfect human beings, I mean, look at the world, He went a long way to go to get things together here, basically, wars and famine and pestilence and God knows sin and God knows what else, is going on all the time. So I think, I think the God up there, if there's the God, a creator, is scratching his head and laughing at us, what have I done? What have I done? What have I created?
Well, just look at the diversity of life as we know it, just on the one planet. I mean, all the different critters that can live in all of these different types of environments. And the fact that the tardigrades, they've taken tardigrades and they've brought them into space, onto the moon, and brought them back. They were in the vacuum of space for like over a year. They brought them back and they came right back to life.
Amazing,
now that to me says oodles about life. If sperm, what is it called? Sperm, what is that when things hit the world and that's what brings life?
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but sperma is something. Anyways,
Kind of like a potential that gets realized and then goes into hibernation and gets re-realized again. It's like a virus. I think viruses can survive in outer space too, the same way, without air, without light, heat, whatever. They'll go dormant, and then when the environment's ready again, when it changes, they'll pop back up and come back to life. It's amazing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just the mind bending.
I know the creation, the Earth's creation is just an amazing thing. I mean, the farther you look, the more mysterious it becomes, to me.
And also the closer you look. I mean, the closer you look at things, the more mysterious it becomes. The farther away it is, the more mysterious. It's just everywhere you look, it's just this beautiful mystery.
I know.
And it's just.
I've read a bit about quantum mechanics. Like we're all waves, and everything that's pure solid is not solid at all. It's waves and particles, and makes mainly empty space.
Yes.
That's what we're looking at. It's all, that's the illusion to me.
Yes.
It's not really real. If you go down to the quantum level, it doesn't exist. It's constantly changing. I read about particles. A particle which changes when it's observed by a person. It changes form. It somehow comprehends it as being observed on some level and changes. It's amazing. That kind of stuff just blows my mind.
And right there is the subjective nature of consciousness. Right there will show you that even that existence itself you cannot know the trajectory and velocity of a particle and know exactly where it is, or you cannot know where it is and know the trajectory and velocity. So you can know one or the other in approximations, but you can't
pin it down.
But you cannot pin it down. And there's no way to do it. So I mean, that says everything to me. What does that mean? What does that mean for the neuron? I mean, we have a neuron that where does the neuron end and what the neuron is observing begin? You know what I mean?
I know, yeah. And we got billions of them on our head, all fighting with each other for notoriety.
Yeah. And then right. And then we'll look at it like that. Even if we did have a brain that existed in time and space, and all of that is real. Let's say for the sake of argument, okay, we are in time and space, and this is a small slice of a greater universe. Well, for me, all right, forget it. What was I saying?
Time and space.
Even if we were a brain in time and space. Oh yes. So even if we are, let's say we are our brains and our minds, and all of that story is real, right? We're just exploring a small sliver of a possibly infinite universe of space-time. Okay. Well, if that's so, then your brain is either feeding you information prior to actuality or slightly after actuality,
exactly,
or both, but never in real time. Because if it was in real time, then everything would be splotchy in one spot, it'd be running hard in another, it'd be slower in another, it'd be blank in one. And because information can't go through time and space instantaneously.
That's
so what your mind is showing you is kind of it's kind of bits and pieces of a rendition of reality. It's not actual time. So even if you do want to believe the story that the brain is actually thinking and you are your thought, well, you aren't seeing actual existence as it appears. You're seeing it either slightly before or slightly after. And if that's the case, then again, why believe the story?
Exactly.
How do we know that our brain is telling us the truth about
what's to believe? Our brain might be lying to us at some level,
Well, the whole story of a source is predicated on dimensionality, but dimensionality is not verified. other
Yeah.
than the belief in the story that the brain is telling the truth. And we
Exactly. Yeah.
can't know that. So
I read a dissertation, a scientific thing that said there may be as many as 11 dimensions. You know, beyond space, length, breadth, width, space, and time. There may be like eight or nine more dimensions beyond that we can't even comprehend.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. Have you ever seen the explanations for the other dimensions?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh my gosh, it's actually, once you understand what they mean by dimension, it's actually, you can kind of say, oh, okay, I know what the 11 dimension thing is tied up with string theory, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where I saw it.
yeah, if you Google it, it's actually amazing to actually see what they mean by dimension when they're saying 11 dimensions. There's no way to think beyond, our idea of dimension.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
but the way they word it, it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
I have to do that. I'm going to Google that tonight. That'll keep me up till about midnight, probably.
No, I'm telling you, it's far more simple. It's far more simple than I thought.
Really?
When I Googled what are the 11 dimensions of string theory, you look at it. It's fascinating.
I will.
Once I realized what they meant, I was like, oh, I see.
So we'll have something to talk. We'll have something to talk about next time we meet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, absolutely. I'll have to take a refresher. I'll have to listen to you.
Me too. I'll be over my head immediately.
Oh man, I haven't. I've kind of given the what I like about science is you can use science and reason and logic to get somebody to see the conceptual nature of existence, but once they understand it, the conceptual nature of existence, they're really on their own from that point.
That's true.
Yeah. So I love to use science, or I'll use religion, I'll use spirituality, I'll use whatever I can to get people to understand.
Just to communicate,
just to communicate. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm about ready to dive into a pizza one of these days, I think.
I'm going to grab one of these sandwiches.
Okay. Well, Howard, I really enjoyed talking with you. It's been a great experience. I really enjoy your company and hanging out with you and just throwing around ideas and stuff. It's been a wonderful experience. I'm so glad we did this.
Me too. I hope we do it again real soon, sir.
For sure we will. Absolutely.
Thank you, my friend. I'm so grateful.
Okay, me too.
Hey, do you mind if I edit some of this and maybe put a little bit here and there?
No, be my guest. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Make me look good on paper. Okay.
I'll do that. Absolutely.
Okay, Howard. I'll see you later.
All right, brother. See you later, brother. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.